All right. Well, happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Robin and I are here with you on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. We got a busy show because we're looking back at the Kraken game, which Utah Hockey Club lost 5-2. However, we're also looking ahead to New Year's Eve at the Edmonton Oilers. Plus, I've got an announcement I want to make. We'll talk about that as well. But all that more is coming your way right now on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. I'm former NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño. We are here with you to talk Utah Hockey Club. Thanks for joining us and making us your first listen every single day. Kicking it into January. Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. The first thing I'm going to tell you all is please don't drink and drive. Robin, I'm sure we can all agree on this.
100%. Everyone just be safe out there because it's, that we don't want to take any risks here. We love you all.
We do. And you know what? It is amateur night. As much as I know everybody likes to go out and have fun, but just have fun responsibly. That's all I'm asking.
Of course. Yeah.
Have a good time. Party all you want. Just be responsible. So
call an Uber if you have to, or call a friend. Whatever works best for you.
I'm a Lyft person. I like Lyft better than Uber, but I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
I do prefer Lyft too. If you're here if I still have any Arizona listeners left here, maybe you're choosing to ride Waymo instead. Who knows?
And okay, quick story about me. I have driven for both Lyft and Uber in previous lives. And when I signed up to drive Lyft, it was when it first came to Nashville. So, Robin, somewhere, and I can't tell you where, but I know I have never gotten rid of it. I still have the giant pink mustache they used to send you to put on your car.
Forgot about that.
I never put mine on the outside of the car. I put it on the inside on the dash, but it was huge. It was like most of the length of your bumper. I still have the giant mustache. Now, they were supposed to send the smaller stuffed mustache that you could put on your dashboard because, quite frankly, if it fell off on the highway, it was a problem. And that stash was called the Cuddle Stash because it was a little one. It was a Cuddle Stash.
Nice.
But yeah, I've got the full size somewhere, the pink Lyft mustache. I wonder would that be worth on eBay?
Love that.
Yeah. That you know what? If I ever find it, it's going to replace the dark saber and the goalie mask. How's that? It'll just be
there. We go. There we go.
And if you miss this episode, you will have no context as to why that's there.
There we go.
That'll be a good time. So
great.
All right, let's jump. Let's get on track here, and we're going to talk about first of all the Seattle Kraken beating the Utah Hockey Club by 5-2 counts. And Robin, looking back at this one. And looking back at the last stretch for the Utah Hockey Club, they have gone from winning 4 in a row to now losing 4 in a row. And even in this game tonight, it was a microcosm of the month of December because sometimes they looked really good, sometimes they looked really bad, and at the end of it all, Seattle was by far the better team in the third period. That was the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to a lot of what we've been talking about over the course of this last month, over the course of this entire season so far, Tom, of when this team just can't put together a full 60-minute effort, it really goes to show what happens in the end.
It does. And I mean, even within the efforts, the individual efforts, I mean, I've got some players I want to talk about. Sergachev -4 tonight. But almost 25 minutes of ice time. But I mean, -4, ooh, that's rough. That's a bad game. And I know it's live by the sword, die by the sword. And honestly, one of the goals, I even actually feel bad that anybody had to take a minus. It was the one that was scored out of the corner and banked in off Vejmelka's left side. It got somehow past the right pad, hit the left pad, and banked into the net. The shot was from the corner behind the net. And I'm like, It's one of those nights. It's just one of those nights. This is how it's going. Okay, what are you going to do? So in that moment, I kind of figured it was just not going to happen tonight. So what are you going to do? Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at that point, there's not much you can do. As I think the best thing you can do in a game like this, Tom, is, yeah, I'm sure now they lost 4 in a row after having a pretty good win streak previously, but best thing you can, as I said this probably before, many times before, best thing you can do is don't take this with you. Is just look at the next game. Don't even worry about what happened tonight against the Kraken, and move on.
And they even had a goal disallowed, the power play goal, which, by the way, I didn't think Veggie was at his sharpest tonight. Made some good saves, but just wasn't his best game. That's fine. It happens, right?
Yeah.
But nobody bailed him out either. But even it would have been 6 had the power play goal not been disallowed, and that was not a good one to let in either. But look, we could point fingers all day long. The good news is, and we're going to talk about this next segment, is they get to go right back at it one day later at Edmonton. That's super important. But Robyn, this is the start of a 4-game and 6-day stretch, all on the road, all with some difficult travel in here. So you're going now from this game in Seattle to Edmonton, not a long flight. You've got to clear customs, and then you've got to go to Calgary, and then you've got to go all the way down to Dallas to wrap it up. That's a long flight, by the way. Calgary to Dallas.
So going from Canada's Texas to the real Texas.
That's right. Yeah. The Texas of Canada to the Texas of, Texas, because Texas is not even part of the United States. It's Texas. So I've lived there. I can say that. Texas is Texas. It's its own country. So, and if you don't know this, visit sometime and you'll see exactly what I mean in 5 minutes. But that's a tough road trip, right? I mean, that is a difficult swing for anybody. But I like, in this case, this is the only back-to-back on this trip, but I like it that they get to go right back out tomorrow night against Edmonton because, as you say, you got to have a short memory. And, boy, they really need to forget that third period. I mean, that was the second period was their best period. They outshot the Kraken 17-7. They were awake. They were engaged. They scored the only goal of the period, Kerfoot 6th. I thought, okay, here we go. They got a power play goal earlier. It's 2-2 at that point. I felt better about it heading into the third, right? Mm-hmm. And then boom, boom. And then, later on into the empty net McCann to make it was really a 4-2 game, but 5-2 with the empty netter. And I don't know, Robyn, I didn't see that third period coming. The fact that it happened didn't surprise me. But to me, that's the next step you take, right? If you're getting better as a team, that third period shouldn't happen.
No.
It should at least be close.
You should have built out the momentum you gained in that second period. Like you said, like you take a look at the shots, from the when you said it was 17-7 at first too. I even saw it was like at that point for Seattle over Utah early on in the second. I was like, how does Utah only have that amount? Like where are we at here? And all of a sudden, end of the second period, it says 21 shots. And I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah. Yeah. It was 16-5 in the first in favor of the Kraken, which I understand being on the road, right? A home team's going to come out. Their opening 20 is probably going to be really good. And it should be. They're the home team. They're the ones putting on the show. You as the road team, your job is weather the storm. And I think they did a decent job of that. They even scored first. They scored on the power play. Gave up 2, could have been 3, but they gave up 2 really fast inside of a minute. And that hurt. That turned the tide at that point. But they got it back together in the second period. So again, I'm like, oh, good. I felt good going into the third. And then, no, it didn't work out that way.
That's it. So, there was a couple things. There's that little added bit is a good team will build off momentum. They won't lose any of it. They'll build off of it.
Exactly. And so that one was tough for me. And again, just if I'm going to do, El Gordo's plus minus police, if you listen to Sirius XM, there's a lot of literal negatives on this score sheet. So Sergachev was the worst defender at -4. Schmaltz is -3. Valimaki, Keller, Gunther, Bukestad, Michelli, Cooley, all of them -2. That's pretty hard. Guess what, though? Carcone, it was a +1, along with my boy, Kevin Stenlund. So,
Love those two.
yeah, I mean, Stenlund is the stealth pickup of the year for this team. Like, he's just out there doing his thing every night, solid defensively, didn't take a ton of faceoffs tonight, only 8. He won 5. It's hard not to like his game. And Ole Mata, by the way, 21 and a half minutes of ice, even with 4 shots. And 3 blocks. That led the team.
Made me think of it. Will it surprise you if Utah uses Stenlund as trade bait based off how well he's been doing?
Actually, it would.
Yeah?
It would, because I think he's a character, heart, and soul guy.
Fair. Okay.
I think you bring him in to be part of the growth. I don't think he's a guy that you're going to part with. He's not someone who I think you view maybe like a Bortuzzo or a McBain or and even not so much McBain really, but I mean, there's guys you're going to part with probably if you're asked about them. But that said, the asking price has got to be there just because you want to offer guys out. I think Ian Cole is one that I think could definitely be available. Our buddy Nick Bukestad, the Utah Boomerang. So, it just Boomerang Bukestad. I'm going to hang that on him right now because he just always comes back. So, these names are going to be out there.
That should have been that. You know what? That's like. If we ever get a chance to, get like a one-on-one with Nick Bukestad, we should just hand him a boomerang and no context. Just
right. Hey man, I got this for you. Have a present. I'll just have his name and number on it.
There you go.
Yeah, that would actually be a lot of fun. So nobody steal our gift idea, and nobody tell him. We're just going to surprise him with it. Not like he's listening to the show, but you never know.
You never know.
But I mean, again, Robyn, I mean, probably your prescription is the best prescription. Short memory, get on the plane, leave it in Seattle. Don't be sleepless in Seattle. Just go to Edmonton and forget it ever happened.
Speaking of Edmonton, we got a game coming up, and let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with that, what to expect, and some of the keys of the game and some of the picks that we got. So we'll do that right after this.
And today's show is brought to you in part by Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances, which is really nice. I don't have the money for a personal assistant. Or maybe I do now. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. And this is a great time here heading into the new year to review your monetary goals. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, I mean, one of the best ones is definitely the subscription tracker. Think about it. How many different streaming services do we all have? And then different, sports, especially for us, people who are really into sports. I mean, you've got this channel, that channel. You've got to get all this different stuff together. Well, this keeps track of it for you. And then you can cancel the ones you're not using, especially because it's seasonal in a lot of cases. That's huge. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with the Rocket Money app. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Well, let's talk about the Edmonton Oilers because Robyn, as I take a look at the standings, New Year's Eve, and again, Happy New Year, everybody, or Happy New Year's Eve. Coming into this one, Utah Hockey Club, 16-4-6, 38 points. They are 4 points out of the final wild card spot. And they are 7 points behind the Oilers, who are 21-12-3. So the difference there, number one, both these teams can score. Remember we said scoring goals wasn't going to be the problem, but Edmonton, 117 goals for, but 104 against, 108 against for Utah Hockey Club, 105 for. So I expect, given that, we're probably talking about a game that's going to have some offense to it. But also a game that right now, I mean, the Oilers, yeah, they're in third in the Pacific Division, but there's no reason why Utah Hockey Club can't go in there, be upset about what happened in Seattle, and come out with a win.
And I feel like they certainly can. We've seen games in which like they come out on a second game, maybe not necessarily at the back-to-back, but they come out after a bad loss or what maybe they didn't feel like they didn't have the best performance or whatever it was. And we come out like, oh, wow, that was a great game. Sometimes even if they didn't win that game, but maybe you and I will talk about how we liked their effort in that game. Because there was a game, maybe it was a game they shouldn't have won anyways, but they made it close. That's kind of like what I'm thinking of what we're going to see in this game. Like, is we're going to see that competitiveness because of, they just want to put Seattle behind them and just have one amazing game for the final game of 2024.
I think the immediate chance at pushback is what I want to see. I want to see them go in upset with the way things ended in Seattle. Because, look, there's some good things you're going to take out of the Kraken game, but you have to be disappointed with that third period. They just did not seem to find a way not only to score the go-ahead goal that they needed, but then also defensively, it almost looked like they just didn't think about playing two-way hockey. When they were going in one direction, that was it. Okay, the offense is going. We're all going forward now. Right. No one seemed to really be thinking about the back end here. And early on, players were covering. Everybody was kind of rotating around. I felt like there was a lot more heads up and awareness, but then that just wasn't there as much for me. In the third, there were some odd man rushes they gave up, and they've done that all year, but they gave up a few odd mans during the game. Just guys slipping in behind him, breakaway goal. I don't know. It was, it was a little scary because it felt like how it used to be when they weren't winning games.
It did give us that feel of that November stretch, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a little, I don't want to see them regress to that.
I mean, like the unfortunate thing, Tom, is I try to stay hopeful that they don't, but I've said it. We said I teased it to you before we went on the air, and I was saying that I have said this time and time again on this show for the last. I've been doing this show for 4 years now. This is my little 4-year anniversary gift that they gave me. And saying it for that this amount of time, this team is consistently inconsistent. They continually show that they'll go through those periods, those high periods in which we're like, ooh, maybe, just maybe they put all that bad behind them. And then they go through a stretch like this where it's like, did they regress? What happened? I've been so used to this at this point, Tom, that like it doesn't surprise me. It just does disappoint me.
Yes. That's the line your parents give you, right? Right. I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed.
It's that's the gut wrencher right there.
Oh, that's a crusher. Oh, the weight of disappointment on me. Boy, oh boy. There's probably people who cringed when they heard and or saw us talking about that just now. But you're right. It is the weight of disappointment. It is I thought we were better than this. And that's the thing is, like, you can say there's so many cliches. right? There's so many cliches. You could say all the right things. Well, learning opportunity. Well, we're going to get better. Well, we just didn't do this. We didn't do that.
But how
When,
many times do you
well,
have
well, wait, perfect where I was going with that. When does it end?
It's tough. It's tough because we again with this team, you hope at this point they should have learned their lessons. At this point, they should have had it figured out.
Yeah. But it didn't look that way tonight. And it's a little painful kind of reminder that, look, all these teams in the NHL are good, right? I mean, there's no night off. Even at the bottom of the standings, a team can beat you. But the thing is Seattle is below you. Now they're only 2 points below you. Yeah, you got 2 games in hand, but you got to beat them. You got to win that game, even on the road. I know it's not an easy win, but if you're going to be a playoff team, those are the wins you have to have.
Oh, absolutely. You need to be able to. Yeah, I mean, you need to win those kind of games, and you would figure it out. You say the same thing about any team that's like closer to the bottom of the standings. You take a look at the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks. Those are teams that you have to beat. And again, you're not going to always beat them. There are some days in which things just happen. Like heck, Utah lost to Anaheim just last week, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I know. It's anybody can beat anyone. I mean, Anaheim just beat Utah by 4 in a shootout. So, the Ducks are a talented team. They're a frustrating team. You want to talk about a frustrating hockey team? It's the Anaheim Ducks, because they were supposed to be a playoff team by now, and it just hasn't panned out for them. So
I remember that like about 3-4 years ago.
Oh, yeah, with the emergence of Trevor Zegras and everything, it just like they were going to explode. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of talent on that team. I thought so too. And then it's just never come to fruition.
It just didn't happen.
Yeah,
sometimes that happens.
Well, and I don't want Utah Hockey Club going into that same pothole.
Of course. I mean, there was a generation of the Arizona Coyotes in like that late 10s that looked like they were coming out, and then they regressed and they went right back down. So
yeah, I remember that they made that the run was in 2012. I think it was. And I mean, but that was a whole different, obviously, batch of players in a different era. But those are that's what you feel good about, but that's what you're building towards here. If this team made a run to the conference finals in the next 3 years, I'd feel amazing about that.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a heck of a thing to accomplish. Are you kidding me? To be one of the last 4 standing from where they are now out of the playoffs. It's doable, though. You had the right pieces. You get everything going in the right direction. You have the talent. So you just got to bring it together.
They really do. But what we're going to do, Tom, is let's get to some keys to the game for this next game, the New Year's Eve game up against the Edmonton Oilers. And then let's make some predictions, or final score predictions, or just maybe any other wild predictions for the game. Right, we'll do that right after this. Alrighty, Tom. Let's get to some keys to the game. Our 3 keys to the game for the Utah Hockey Club versus the Edmonton Oilers on this New Year's Eve game.
Number 1 is duct tape Connor McDavid to the ceiling of the locker room and don't let him on the ice. That is absolutely the first and most important thing that they can do. But Connor McDavid's on a tear. He's just playing so well right now. And again, this is a dangerous team. I look at, anybody looks at it, and the name's up there, and it's always Draisaitl, McDavid, right?
That duo. Yeah.
So just on our way into this New Year's Eve game, first in scoring in the league, Nathan McKinnon, Colorado, who's on fire, 60 points. But who's number 2? Draisaitl, 55 points. Who's number 5? Connor McDavid. But what the thing is about McDavid is Draisaitl's the scorer right now, and he's hard to stop. But McDavid is kind of become the exclusive setup guy. 37 assists right now. That is insane. And I mean, he's got the vision to do it. He's still scoring on the power play. He's still putting shots in. His shooting percentage is 14.7%. By the way, Draisaitl's is 23.6. He's going to come back to earth at some point, right? Right? Maybe. Maybe not.
I mean, you're putting together just in general, the kind of that when you talk about those that duo, an incredible playmaker, one of the the greatest playmaker of this era, with also an incredible sniper in Draisaitl. So that's what makes those two work so well to each other. That, I mean, if you don't contain them, you're dead.
Edmonton's power play is disgusting because they have so many options.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, special teams is huge. And that's key number one for me, is not even that the penalty kill's got to be sharp. It's just stay out of the box. You know what I mean? Just don't put yourself in it. There were a couple of penalties tonight that I thought UHC took that I didn't like. Some retaliatory stuff, things that they didn't need to do.
Remember what we said earlier this month? When you take less of those dumb penalties, this team does better.
And why would you bring that up, Robin? What bearing does that have on this conversation? Oh, maybe that you're not shorthanded. You're not, again, you're not exerting yourself. You're not chasing the game. But they did it tonight a little bit, and it didn't bite them per se against Seattle. It will bite them against Edmonton. You cannot get called for the retaliation stuff. You have to move your feet, because someone like McDavid can make you look silly. And if you stop moving your feet, the temptation is going to be to hook, to hold, to trip. You can't do it. Otherwise, you're going to spend the whole night 5-on-4, and they are going to shred you.
And then if you just give McDavid just slight that bit extra, you give McDavid an extra inch of ice, he's going to take it and turn it into like what feels like a mile to him.
He'll drive a bus right through it. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Another thing, though, that I really think they need to do, Edmonton goaltending wise, we talk about their goaltending, and I still don't think Edmonton is 100% where they want to be with goaltending. Now, Stuart Skinner this year is 13-8. But, okay, so that's not a bad one loss, right? 24 games. Still a save percentage under 900, though. 894. I don't think that's good enough. 2.89 goals against means Edmonton is doing its job defensively to help him out. But, I mean, he's 894. There's a couple of other guys who I'm surprised, like Jeremy Swayman still hasn't gotten above 900. But that's not good quality, gonna win you hockey games goaltending when you get a high volume of shots. Now, consider Karel Vejmelka, 916. I like that. That's a good save percentage, despite the fact the record's not fantastic, 8-10-2, but his numbers are good. 2.4 goals against, a 916 save percentage. I like those numbers because he's giving you the saves. They are not getting the saves. So to me, it is volume of shots. Funnel pucks, funnel players, get stuff to the net, get everything to the net, because I think you can rattle Skinner. That's going to be another key for me.
Oh yeah, you absolutely can, and this Utah team can do it. We've seen them shoot. We know they know how to shoot.
Yes, yeah, they can. They definitely can. So, Robin, what do you want to circle? Do you have a key or two that you want to put in there?
I feel like, to me, I think there was the no-brainer, as you kind of already mentioned. And it was, for me, it was just a simpler terms, is just contain McDavid if you can. It's an incredibly tall order to do so. But, and it's even tougher when you have when you don't have a defense. But
yeah, and look, this is not to slight anybody, but right now, they're in a tough spot. And again, it's just you're trying to make do with what you've got, and that's just how it is. And you know, it's like I say, it's not an excuse, it's a reason. But
Of
this is a
course.
team that can embarrass you. But even if you end up, you know, taking care of those guys, there's other players out there who can bite you. And that's what I think, you know, teams forget about a little bit. And look, looking at Edmonton's roster right now, it is clear that Draisaitl and McDavid are the guys, and they have been for a while,
Clear.
because the third leading scorer is Evan Bouchard with 27 points. So, I mean, Bouchard is 50% behind, or they're double, I guess. The lead is double from Draisaitl and McDavid, 55 and 52 on down. But they still have guys who can hurt you. Bouchard can, Hyman can, Nugent Hopkins can. You know, they are players who occasionally make their mark and make things happen. And I mean, even guys like Corey Perry and Jeff Skinner, you still have to watch out for them. I mean, are they effective all the time? No. And speaking of Corey Perry and staying out of the box, I guarantee you someone's taking a retaliatory penalty.
Corey Perry is going to want to start something. And then let's say it's Michael Corconi or someone, they're going to want to fight back.
And Perry is just, he's that player. I don't like his game. But he's that guy.
He just likes to start crap.
He does. He thrives on it. So, but so I mean, those are my keys. And you know, I think, Robyn, I don't know what the over is. I don't know if you happen to look it up on the FanDuel side or not, but I'm probably taking the over in this one, just because you have weak goaltending for the Oilers, and the Oilers are a team that scores a lot. Both these teams actually score, you know, a decent amount of goals. So probably going with the over. I'm guessing it'll be at 5.5.
6.5.
6.5. Okay. Yeah, I'm still probably going with the over, because that means a 4-3 game. I could see that.
If you want to know where the money line is, guys, it is minus 235 for Edmonton, plus 190 at against Utah.
If you were a risk taker, this might be the game to put a little money on Utah. If you're not averse to risk, because I realize it's back-to-backs with travel heading into Edmonton on New Year's Eve, but my thought process is the third period was embarrassing, and they're going right back out there for a shot at redemption. Maybe they cash it.
You can be a risk taker, and it could pay out pretty well.
Yeah, maybe. So, look, if I'm not saying that's 100%. No. But if you had $20 burning a hole in your pocket,
we're not calling it a lock, but you know, it's like, hey, if you want to take a risk, and you're feeling a little spicy this New Year's Eve, go out, leave 2024 with something that's like, hey, you know what? Full send.
Yeah, why not? And you could come out, as you say, you could really come out to the good on that one. That's what'd you say, -1 or plus 190?
Plus 190.
Plus 190. So yeah, that's
not bad. Not bad at all. Maybe you can even add something, maybe a little prop wager in there if you really wanted to.
Dylan Guenther goal.
Let's see. Dylan Guenther goals at plus 250.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that happening. So there you go.
Connor McDavid is plus 115.
Tom just gave you the roadmap. So
here's a fun one. Kevin Stenlund's plus 800.
Oh.
Anytime goal scorer.
Nice. Boy, that'd be one to hit, wouldn't it?
Oli Mata is plus 1,500.
Is that the highest on the?
Troy Stetcher is the highest, plus 1,700, and the highest for Utah is also at plus 1,500. So Oli Mata is the highest for Utah, but it's tied with Vladislav Kolyachonok and Juuso Välimäki.
Interesting. Well, I don't know if I'm going that high, Robyn. I'll be honest with you.
No, that's a little bit too much. That's a little that's a little too spicy for me.
Yeah. But I don't know. I do like a good Kevin Stenlund at plus 800. You never know. That's pretty good.
I know you like your guy Kevin Stenlund.
That's right. That's right, man. That'd be a nice little setup if it came through. So, but well, that's what I've got on the matchup, Robin. And I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add in there.
No, I think that's that kind of covers it for everything we wanted to discuss on this episode. Hope you guys liked what you heard today. We're gonna be back tomorrow. We're gonna continue to be back every day for more pregame shows, more postgame shows coming your way. Plus a lot of other Utah Hockey Club content. We have a lot coming your way. We have a very packed 2025 coming your way, don't we, Tom?
We do, and I know towards the end of December, the holidays, there was a lot going on for both Robin and I, off the cameras. So we were just kind of navigating through those waters. But, we have big plans for 2025, so we hope everybody sticks around. And I do want to mention, speaking of 2025, January 1st, I am making an exit from Twitter. I have been on Twitter now for 16 years. And it's a little hard to say goodbye. And I've really been going back and forth about this, but just it's kind of devolved on the platform. And I just am not enjoying it anymore.
I totally get it.
So I'm leaving, everybody. I'm leaving. Don't follow me there anymore.
Yeah, just go ahead and just hit the unfollow button instead, and just go ahead and follow Tom on Blue Sky at Tom Talks.
Yes. And then, but Robin, the show is still going to be on.
The shows can still be on Twitter for now. Up until we see any mass changes in where all our followers are. I'm not going to make many changes. I will continue to be kind of hovering around both personally. I'll be Robyn _Leaño still on Twitter. Robyn Ice Time over on Blue Sky.
And you know what? I mean, the interaction is climbing on Blue Sky all the time, and hockey Twitter was kind of finding its way there. And I think it's slowed a little bit here in the middle of the year, but I'm hoping it'll pick up again relatively soon. It's
a better mood overall over on the other app.
Very much so. Very much so. I agree.
Anyways, if you guys did like what you heard, though, don't forget to leave us a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your shows, including on YouTube. Hit the notification bell if you want to get notified every time a new episode drops. Or if you're on like Spotify or everything, just hit auto download. That way, first thing in the morning, that episode's already downloaded into your phone, so you're able to just hit play, get ready to go, get your morning started. Again, don't forget to follow us on social media. We talked about how we can find us. Find the show at LO_NHL Utah. That's on Twitter, on Threads. Also on Blue Sky at Locked On Utah Hockey. Guys, just interact with us. We'll answer right back around a future episode of the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to this episode, and we'll see you guys next time.